Okay, hi. Hello, everyone. So let's just take one moment to imagine you're great at your job. CRO is your bread and butter. You do A/B testing every day. You are like a butterfly sprinkling your clients over with loads of money by increasing their purchases. So it's a normal day in the office. You get the new client in, you start testing. You do it for a month. You do it for 2 months. But there are no wins. Shit! Can you imagine what that feels like? It's a disaster. What are you going to tell the client? You know, I just told you that I'm going to be bringing you money, but then all of a sudden I'm failing. So what's happening? Why do I not get the wins anymore? So the good news is that probably you're dealing with a high converting website. And I will be talking about that today, about our own journey in the agency and also the tactics that we have found have worked really well on high converting websites. So why is it? So 5 years ago, you know, we got a lot of clients coming in who had websites that weren't functioning, they weren't doing really well. So we had the whole Eisenberg's pyramid to work with as our playground. And with a high converting website, you actually, you know, there aren't so many bugs around anymore. So you just have the really top of the pyramid to work with, which is persuasion. And the other issue is the local maximum. So the closer you get to the local maximum, the more tests you need to start running. And to get to the next level, the global maximum, you probably need to go you know, really hard in with innovative testing and drastic redesigns, but also it's quite risky for the business. So you might really you might not want to do that. And to top it all up, if you have a well-functioning website with highly motivated traffic, for example, coming from influencers or social channels where people are promoting products amongst their friends. So they just come to the website to buy and they don't care that much, even if there are a couple of bucks around. And the reason why I'm telling you all this today is that we in our agency, we see those websites come in more and more often, that kind of clients who have really good websites. So I would say thank you all for doing a great job, and the websites overall are getting better. Really? Are they? You probably heard Greg talking earlier today about how crappy they still are. So yeah, what about British Airways? They're crap, and the other. But what we see is that a lot of the businesses who really see the value in a good website, they put a lot of money into it. They hire in-house. They get their websites better, and that's when they come to us asking for further help. So we're supposed to be working with pretty good businesses, and then still trying to make that bit of a lift up. So I'm going to tell you a story. We got this really fun client come in one day, and they had loads of traffic, loads of conversions, so it meant that we can do a lot of tests. We were super excited. The team was professional. They were really hands-off, so we could really do our business. We were talking the same language. We were like, great, super excited about it. So it's the case of Teespring. What they do is they're basically a marketplace for people and designers to come in and design their own products. For example, T-shirts or mugs or other gift items, and then sell them on the website. So they're pretty big in terms of the annual revenue, and they were doing really well. So we started our process. Hopefully, or probably, a lot of you are familiar with the CXL model that we do. So we do a full research cycle. We prioritize the test to know where to start off. So we did all that. We started with our first test. which is, it was pretty much a home run because a benefits bar always works. That's what we thought. And in terms of the research, we saw very clearly that people were, they really cared about the quality of the products. They were patriotic. They cared about the fit. And also, they loved the fact that they are not paying loads of money to big corporations, but the money is more going to normal people like themselves. So it was a home run. It was a sure winner. So what do you think what the uplift was? Flat. Correct. Yes, of course. Because I said it before. So fast forward. Some tests later, we get to the 10th test. Urgency. Again, great company, great business model. So they had urgency already built into the business model, which meant that, so the designers who design a product, they have to sell a certain amount of products before it even goes into printing, and they only have a couple of days to do that. So we're like, wow, this is really good. So let's just emphasize that much more. So we brought it up. We put the countdown high up. Also, how many products were still there to sell before people could actually get the product, and how big was the uplift? Basically, all those tests that we had done for ages, those 10 tests, they came back all flat. We were screaming our heads off. We were devastated in the office. We were like, what on earth is going on? This is not normal. And halfway through testing, once the integration with the analytics and the testing tool were properly set up, we started doing segmentation, post-test segmentation, and we started looking at really broad segments in GA, like new versus returning visitors, browser type, traffic source, location device. And here's just another example of, here we actually, in this test, we just wanted to see whether the traffic was really discount driven or not. We just wanted to get the learning. So we did a price strike-through test, which is something that eBay and the likes do pretty well as well. So we take the normal price, we increased it by 15% on average, we struck it through and put a discounted price next to it, just to see, does that help? What do you think? What was the uplift? It was flat, but the returning visitors, the uplift for the returning visitors was 9% with a 95% statistical significance. So it was the highly motivated traffic who already had the purchase intent, who were like, oh yeah, there's a discount, let's grab that. And that one really worked. So, as you all know, aggregate data is crap, right? And, 5% conversion rate, it doesn't really mean anything if you can see that new visitors convert at 1% and they're returning at 10%. So, it's a big learning there. So in terms of personalization, it's a great thing to do. And it has immense gains when you start looking and digging into the segments. And doing that, you also learn about your customers. You learn what works, and you get ideas when you do segmentation. So you get ideas of how to develop your test and how to and what kind of resonates with your audience. And it's also quite easy to do. You can even use tag managers to target, to do personalization, or you can use tools like Sentient, who is also in this event as a sponsor, so thank you, but also VWO, Optimisely X, Adobe Target, so there are loads around. But just in terms of, just a couple of words around warning. Because when you go into that detail, just be really careful that you don't get lost. So sometimes there are really not those wins in the segments either. And if you have a lot of traffic, you might be quite tempted to just start digging right into really small specific segments. So when you find yourself in a position when you're looking at, okay, Instagram traffic, 55 plus people who have a pit bull, and it doesn't really make sense why those people would like that treatment, it's a big red flag. So don't do that. And just think about how relevant is the treatment of the segment, and just try to keep that overall kind of fresh head when you're doing it. So kind of the same point, but confirmation bias. So when you're going into the detail, and you kind of think that you're really desperate to find an explanation, right? So you see the win, and you're like, okay, maybe it's that. Like, why is this segment winning over the other? And it's very tempting to base that explanations on your previous knowledge. So here I would like to say that in the evening today we're going to have an Ask Me Anything session. So when you have wins, just talk to people. Just talk it through, like, does that actually make sense? Does my explanation make sense? Before you go somewhere, you think like, okay, this is the reason, so I'm going to go and kind of base my next treatments and my whole business cycle on it. And that's really dangerous. So start talking and see maybe other people can give you different explanations for it. So sense check. And another one, of course, statistics. We can't not look at statistics, and especially with post-test analysis, where the hypothesis wasn't rounded and you haven't calculated the sample size in advance, you probably want to retest it. So why are we talking about personalization? Like, everyone's doing it, right? Like, we've been probably talking about it 10 years because this is how long this event has been going on. And the truth is, no, not everyone is doing it. Yet, I don't know all the 17 languages that we have here, but definitely the answer is no. And we see that even our clients who have really, really smart people in their companies, and they have the money, for some reason, they're still scared. They don't do it. They don't want to do it. And they have so many excuses, hesitations, like, oh, we don't have the budget right now to make more money. No, the development team doesn't have enough time. We're overworked. But yeah, sure, we're going to do it in the future. Of course, it is the future. We're definitely going to be doing it. Just not now. Okay, so just a couple of takeaways when you get my slides afterwards, so you can download them if you're interested. There's a custom report in GA that we set up for post-test analysis, so you can kind of use that if you're hesitant what to look for, and a bit more information on GTM as well, and how to use tag managers, so you could do easy targeting. So, but probably not everyone has a website with heaps of traffic. So what do you do then? You can still do personalization, especially when the traffic is quite different. They have different goals when they come to your website. It's also good, just keep in mind that just look at really broad segments. If you don't have the traffic, don't go into detail. Run the test for a bit longer to get more data as well. And another tactic that we see work really well, and I will be giving you an example later, is cross-sell and upsell. So an example with broad segments. We had another client called National Bank Card who do secure payment processing solutions. They have 35,000 clients in the US. And we had a look at their Facebook traffic, and it seemed like it was converting slightly worse than the rest. So, clearly, have a look, what's going on. So they were, this is the landing page, which is also their home page. They were sending traffic from Facebook to their home page, but the messages and the campaigns on Facebook were super aggressive, like, hey, stupid, why are you still paying all this money for a payment processing solution? Like, come on, get a grip of it. And this is where they send them. Accept credit cards in your store on the go or online. So one is like a startup message. The other one is big corporation message. So, there's a bit of a mismatch there. And the treatment that we did, which is quite a simple one, just say, hey, there is a new standard. It's not like we're not actually just selling the same stuff that we have always done, and you can save money with us. And in terms of the analysis, because they didn't have so much traffic either, so we also looked at the micro conversions. So in engagement, it was clearly a winner. But then we wanted to sense check. You always want to sense check with the primary goals as well, which is the submitted lead forms. It was quite clear that we were heading the right direction. And just in terms of some other ideas, just to kind of throw out there, hopefully they're going to be helpful. So one thing is, when you don't have the traffic, just look at the micro conversions as well. Don't just throw them out of the window. It's not, sometimes you just can't have a look at the purchases and that's it. Every test with a motivational trigger in them tends to have a higher uplift or have a bigger impact. So that's always a good idea. Do more research. If you can't be testing that much, just go really into detail. Use qualitative data. You can do impression user tests before you put something live, and afterwards, just to understand that you're heading in the right direction. And one other thought is lowering the statistical significance. Now, it's a tricky one, but it's at the end of the day, it's a business decision. So if you in the business agree in advance that it's okay to take higher risks, to be able to move somewhere, then it's probably okay. And the last example that I'm going to be talking to you today about is cross-sell and upsell. So upsell, small for bigger, bigger for small, more products for less. So we have this other client who probably Pep mentioned them as well, which is native. So they do deodorants, and that's all they do. And they're pretty big. Their estimated annual revenue is between 25 to 30 million US dollars, which is for one product, it's pretty good. And we started seeing the indication that people were really reacting well to treatments where we were giving them easy solutions to spend more. So here's their product page. And when people were clicking, add to cart, just get your product, they were prompted with a pop-up saying, hey, this scent is in a sample pack. Why don't you get all 3 scents and get a discount? And this was a winner across the board. Absolutely all the goals were up. Purchases were up by almost 11% at a 99% statistical significance. They have a lot of traffic, so we could really tell that this is really doing well. So just to kind of wrap it up, the learnings from the case studies. Personalized experiences. So learn from the segments, and from those learnings, you can move on to the ideas for personalization, to see the segments that you want to target and how you want to target them. Use the motivational triggers. Cross-sell, upsell. Just give the people the opportunity to spend more, which is fine, right? Think about broad segments, especially initially, just to make sure that you are not losing yourself in the segments. Think about micro conversions and how you could really benefit from them. And yeah, that's it. So just one thought: optimization is not just testing, right? So it's also about finding bugs, and it's really important. Whether you're in-house or an agency, just make sure that you tell your boss and your client that if you do find bugs, and there's still, you know, because websites change all the time, so new bugs come up. So there's always that, and when you know, there's still so much money that you can lose if you don't look out for them. So make sure that people are on board with that. So my recommendation, and if you're not doing it, just get started small. Start targeting. Start doing personalization. And then once you get the learnings and you do understand your audience more and more, it's great that we now have automated solutions for personalization as well. And that's definitely going to be the next step. So start small, go big, or, you know, just go big tonight anyway. You don't have to start small. And just remember that in the details, there's still so much money hidden in there that you can really grab with personalization, segmentation, and also with the other tactics. That really, you know, when you're hit with a well-converting website, it is not the end of the world. It is a new journey. It's really exciting. So thank you.